And hello Stowe community, welcome to a mini tutorial for Primetime UGC. In this mini tutorial I'm going to teach you how to do the math. If you don't already know, many Foundry authors use calculators and paper and pencil, often to build complex and elaborate sets. And I'll show you how we do that. I use this trick quite often. I like to use it. It saves me time. And it's handy. Let's say my goal is to put in a bunch of these TOS closed gates and line them all up together to make a fence. Well, notice that when I use the drag and drop feature, the numbers are really messy. They're long, complicated numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the snap to grid and the snap to angle off. We won't really use the angles, but I turn them both off automatically. And I'm going to change the value of the first one to something simple. So exactly 300, and I'll change the z value to 265. If you don't understand x, y, and z values, this tutorial is not for you. You should go back and watch one of my introductory tutorials, because this tutorial assumes that you understand how to manually edit the x, y, and the z values.
Oh, come on now. Will it really hurt to refresh their memory a little bit? That's better.
Okay, so now that we have the first gate in the map, we'll need to line up a second one. Of course, we know it will have the same z value because we want it to line up, but we don't exactly know what the x value should be. This is where the most time-consuming part comes in because you really have to guess. So I'm gonna guess that they're 2.5 apart. So the first one was at 300. I'm going to put the second one at 302.5. Okay, let's go in to the map to see what that looks like. Okay, so here we are in the map, and because FreeCam is still broken, I'm going to have to walk up to the thing and kind of kneel around and try to get a good angle to look at it. You probably can't see it on your end, but I see a little bit of flickering. So they're a bit too close, but not much, just a bit. So I'm going to return into the Foundry, and I'm just going to increase its distance just a tiny little bit. So instead of 2.5, we're going to go 2.51. Enter. Let's go back into the map and see how that looks. Okay, here we are back in the Foundry. We're in the map. And I like that. I think that looks really good. I don't see any gaps, and I don't see any texture overlap, so I think that's about as perfect as I'm going to get it. So now that I've done this step, and you might have to do this step 4, 5, or 6 times because it can be a pain to perfectly line up items, but once you go through the motions of lining two things up, then you're kind of home free from there. All it requires is a pencil, a piece of paper, and a calculator. So we know that the first gate is at 300. The second one is at 302.5. So that means there's a difference of 2.51 between those two gates. This means that the third gate will be this number plus 2.51, and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a calculator, and I'm just going to make a list. I'm going to type in 302.51 plus 2.51. Write that number down. Plus 2.51. Write that number down. Plus 2.51. Write that number down. And so it's just basic addition of adding 2.51 to a number to come up with a list of coordinates. And now that I have that list of coordinates, all I really have to do is put these things in the map, and go by the numbers. You know, all of the z coordinates on these are going to be the same. But according to my list, the next number is 305.02. Alright, this one. Come on, work with me. 307. 0.53. Change the Z, 265. The next number on my list is 310.04. Change the Z. I'll just stop there. Let's go in and see what it looks like. Alright, so there we go. You could keep going. You could go all the way to the end of the map to make this gate, and it just requires using a calculator and writing some numbers down. So that's what we mean when we say do the math. Hope that helps. Alright, thanks.